I'm Dr. Natalie Marks, and we're here with another quick cup of knowledge. Joining me today is Travis York, who's one of the managing partners of Calico Financial. Travis, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Well, we are too, because and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have heard this kind of conundrum coming out of vet schools that a lot of women don't want to be practice owners anymore, but you feel that's sort of a myth. So I'd love for you to explain why.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, I've been around the veterinary space for basically my entire life, and the profession has changed, right? I mean, the graduating class and the, who's graduating and what the demographics are is very different. But what I can tell you is, within our portfolio, 60% of our clients who are people that are buying practices are women. And so I think, what we find a lot of times is that there's just this notion that women don't want to own a practice. And I really don't believe that's true. I mean, I think some of our best owners are women who have taken practices and they take them to the next level and they connect with the team in a different way. And so, I mean, I think one of the first things to really, get out there is you should be talking to your female associates about ownership and giving them that opportunity, because you don't always know what they're going to be interested in. And, our data would say differently.
Well, and a lot of females that are graduating right now might also think, and this might also be a myth, and please correct me, I'm coming out of school with tremendous amount of financial debt. How could I ever be an owner? Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's probably one of the, the biggest myths out there. I mean, I would take kind of the contra position to that, which is with your student debt, you cannot afford to not be an owner, or at least be able to participate in ownership benefits. And really the reason that I think about that is your student loan obligation is decided by how much personal income you make. And so whether you're an associate doctor producing $600,000 or you're an owner producing $600,000, as a veterinarian you make a certain amount of money. And I worked with a lot of owners, and I haven't found any owners that can produce much more than $600,000, $700,000 a year in revenue, and that's about where an associate taps out. The debt that you take on as the business is not at the personal level. It's taken on at the business level. And so, can you at a personal level support your student loans? Yes. Can the business at a business level support its debt? And so it's really two different things we're considering. And so saying, hey, I can't take on more debt because of my student loans isn't really true, because it's not how the lenders are going to think about it. And ownership benefits are really how you start to right-size that student debt.
And that's encouraging, right, to people who are listening and thinking, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
But they might also be entering into a practice, maybe it's a smaller practice, where they're thinking, if I'm going to own this, the only way I can do it is if I own 100% of it. And I'm not the best business person. I'm certainly not the best human resource manager. And I don't feel I have all the skill set to be the sole owner.
Yeah.
But that's not really the only way you can own, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, we're seeing a lot of different, ownership models being executed today. Does that partners? Veterinarian partners. So you may have a couple of veterinarians own. We're seeing a lot of women who say, hey, I want to own a 1.5 doctor practice. We're each going to work, half-time as a veterinarian, and we're going to put in 5 to 7 hours a piece in the management. We're going to maintain kind of the lifestyle and the flexibility that we have in our associate role, and really grow that practice. So we've seen that work. When you talk about skill set, what we're also seeing is veterinarians have more access to resources to support their business today than ever in the past. And so if you aren't as strong in one area, say HR or financial reporting, you can go find resources to help you there. Another thing that we're seeing a lot of veterinarians do is partner with a non-veterinarian. Bring in somebody whose skill set is HR and people management. It allows you to focus solely on the veterinary, the medicine side, the science side, where you really have passion, and somebody else who really has passion around the business side to focus on the business side. And you create a complementary relationship in that business marriage. And that can really lead to a lot of success, I think, for both a practice owner as well as for the client base.
Yeah, and those are a lot of great options that I think people don't normally think about, right? And one of those newer options, you were just telling me about a little bit, is this VSOP. Can you explain this program and how it came to be, and really what are the benefits to people who are interested in it?
Yeah, so the VSOP program is something that's very new, that we've launched within Calico, and it's really designed to help a practice owner who is looking to recruit and retain their doctors and provide ownership benefits to them. Well, our view is, ownership really kind of offers three, really key benefits: a short-term financial gain, a long-term financial gain, and professional development and advancement, and kind of that hunger that veterinarians have to continue to grow and develop, their skill set. And so, what VSOP ownership does is it allows a veterinarian to, at their place of employment, earn a short-term share in what they help generate on an annual basis. They get to share in the long-term growth of the value of the business that they help build. And then there's an e-learning platform that lets them grow and understand ownership, and that may ultimately lead to another version of ownership, right? But what we're really trying to do is push ourselves to not think about ownership the way we always have in the past. I think we all would acknowledge that the profession is a little bit different profession than what it was in the past. And if we continue to kind of think about it the same way we always have, the profession, opportunities will pass us by. The profession won't pass by, but opportunities will pass us by. So, this is just a new way for somebody to think about, as a practice owner, how do I create an avenue to continuously grow and continuously improve my practice? Well, that's by recruiting, retaining the best talent, and then rewarding them. And that's what VSOP is designed to do.
I think there's a lot of people listening today that are going to be incredibly excited about these opportunities, who are maybe thinking of themselves sort of with blinders on about practice ownership.
Yeah.
So to the graduating students, or those fourth-year students that are going to listen to this and think, gosh, this sounds awesome, I never thought I could be an owner. What would be some resources you would encourage them to seek out now before graduation, especially if they don't have a business management course at their school, or they feel like, I really don't want to go into this blindly, I really want to have a foundation behind me of how to approach this?
I think there's two things that I would say. First is kind of pre-graduation. Focus on, there's so many e-learning platforms and so many new technologies out there. There's such an awareness now about the need to gain business knowledge, and quite frankly, whether you're going to have any ownership interest or not, personal finance, business financial literacy is critical, because it drives what you can make as an associate. So an understanding of your business, and look, there's a lot of online resources out there. There's online communities that focus on that, and obviously at the school level, the VBMA is the best place to really start. As a secondary follow-up to that is, once you get out, what do I see not happening that would encourage people to happen? And most importantly is open dialogue, right? So it's, if you want to be an owner, or if you want to learn about business, or don't be afraid to share that. It's something that you should let people know that you have that interest. Let a potential employer know that you're interested, because they may be looking for somebody to work alongside of them. As an owner, what should you be doing? You should be stimulating conversation with your doctors to create a plan, right? If they have interest in ownership, how do you create a plan to let them ultimately one day have ownership in the practice, right? What I think we see more often than anything now is the need to plan. Right. It used to be a profession where it would kind of just but you get up one day and you became an owner, and you get up one day and you're sold to your associate. And today you got to be thoughtful about it. So begin with the end in mind, and if you want to be a practice, try to seek out that independent practice to go work at, because a practice that is part of a larger group is probably just not going to be able to offer that long-term opportunity, right? And so I think it's a little bit about play both the short game and the long game, not just the short game.
These are awesome points, and I really hope that people are able to take these pearls with them both before and after graduation when they enter practices, and think about all of these non-traditional ways that they can benefit both from a professional standpoint but also financially from being in ownership.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your wisdom today and for joining us. Have a great conference.
All right, thanks so much, Natalie. I appreciate it.